What is up, everybody? Today is, well, yesterday I had a chance to ride and review the Kia EV6. So today's going to be my review of that vehicle, as well as a quick comparison to both the Mach-E, the Ford Mach-E, the Mustang Mach-E, as well as the Tesla Model Y, because I've driven a couple Mach-Es, as well as I own a Model Y. So those are, price-wise too, they're kind of in the same ballpark. So I feel like that's a good comparison. I would, of course, it's really similar to the Honda Ioniq 5 as well. However, I've never been in one of those, so I'm going to just stick with what I know on this video and keep that kind of in the realm of comparison. So knowing that, let's dive into my review. Thank you to James of Kia of North Grand Rapids, or Grand Rapids North, as I was able to take a ride in the EV6, and appreciate that. I'll have them linked, their info. If you're looking for a EV6, they still have one, so there you go. So let's get right into it. The exterior of the vehicle, it looks way better in person than because I've watched a couple of videos on it already, and I never really liked the design, but in person it was striking. I was able to spot it from a mile away and say, like, quick story, I pulled in to look at Tellurides, and the second I pulled in, I was like, that's an EV6. So I went and started looking at it, and eventually led into driving it. So it was striking, cool design. I think it looks way better in person, like I said. All right, let's talk about the technology on this vehicle. They do a good job. Now, my one complaint is that, first of all, the tech is great. The infotainment's really smooth. There's like a great feature where the 360 cam, you can actually like move your finger around to see the views around you, and it's really great technology. My only, I guess, issue is this same technology is basically on any modern Kia. So when you're buying this electric vehicle, there's nothing that separates it from the other Kias, because it's just what Kia does now, which is overall a good thing. It's just not enough to wrap around into the price tag of the EV6. Now, the EV6 is rather expensive, if you ask me. It's in the one I did was the all-wheel drive model, and it was $55,000 plus. Dealers everywhere are marking these things up like crazy. Even the dealer I was at had about $10,000 markup. So it's not cheap, and they're hard to find. So honestly, right out the gate, that's a pretty big barrier you got to overcome. Hopefully there's some good dealers around you where you can get them maybe a little more affordable, but at 55, even like if there wasn't a markup, the regular MSRP is rather expensive for this car. Now, the interior was great. It was all leather, really cool, stylish design. The infotainment was fantastic. I think they did a great job with it. The screens are very, very great pixel density. Like, they look really sharp. It's a solid inside. However, at this price tag, you'd maybe expect like a panoramic moonroof, or any moonroof at all, where this, even at $55,000, had none. And tiny little things like that where you're like, man, if I'm spending this much, I kind of want it to have everything. So at the time when I bought my Model Y, it was just under $55,000. And right there, I think I'd choose the Tesla all day over this Kia. So I think Kia's really gonna have to come down in price to really be a contender. And as I was saying, like, the technology on it is actually really good. I think it does an awesome job. It has a great feature that the Tesla doesn't have, which is regenerative braking, where you can choose your level of regenerative brakes. Just a quick story. So on a Tesla, for instance, it's called one pedal driving, where as you press down, the vehicle accelerates, and as you lift off the gas, the vehicle slows down. So on the Tesla, it's either on or off. The weather, if it's really cold out, it will lessen the braking for when you let off the gas. However, you don't have any control over that. Whereas what Hyundai and Kia have done is added paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel, where you can adjust the level of regenerative braking. So if you really like one pedal driving and you want it to fully stop when you let off the gas, You just turn up the regenerative braking, and if it's cold out, maybe it's snowy grounds, and you just want to use a brake as normal and let it coast, you just turn it off, which is just a no-brainer feature that Tesla really needs to get on, because well, it's just something that should be there. Let's talk handling and driving. I think the Kia also kind of beat the Tesla as far as just overall I guess quality, I'll say. Roughly, the design is kind of up in the air. If you're a minimalist, you're going to always go towards the Tesla. If you want a lot of buttons and cool features, you're probably going to lean towards the Kia. But I did feel like the Kia was a little more robustly built. I've complained in the past about how flimsy the trunk of the Tesla is, whereas the Kia was pretty thick and just a little more solid, the Kia was, which not to say the Tesla is bad at all, it's just a tiny little difference that's worth noting. And since we've just been talking about the comparison between the Tesla Model Y and the Kia, let's just keep going on that and talk about cargo space. So the Kia is really kind of lacking. If you are looking to own a SUV and not a car, this is definitely more of a car than an SUV. Obviously it's in right between because of the size, but it really just doesn't have a ton of space. There's it's plenty. Like I said, if you're going from a car to the EV6, it's going to be awesome. You're going to have so much more room. But if you're going from an SUV to the EV6, you're really losing a lot. Whereas the Tesla Model Y has a giant front trunk, and the back trunk actually opens up and drops down even lower for more cargo room. And there is a front trunk on the EV6 and a drop down in the EV6. However, they are very shallow, and you really can't fit anything other than maybe the charging cable in each of them. So keep that in mind if you're going on a lot of family trips or you need to fit a lot of cargo. The EV6 is going to be pushing it in that respect. Now, even the Mach-E, which we haven't really talked about yet, is probably going to have more cargo room than the EV6. It's really not its strong suit. But driving and handling, I also thought was pretty great on the EV6. I would actually compare it a lot to the Mustang Mach-E. I think it's quieter than the Tesla. I think the Mustang is also maybe a little quieter than the Tesla. I really liked the EV6 rides quality. The mode, there's a couple different modes of like eco and sport mode if you want to go a little faster. And you can battery sizes. When we talk about all three of these vehicles, they really come in a very similar realm. We'll say the average is probably about 70 kilowatt hour batteries, which means pretty decent charge times and pretty decent overall efficiency. Now, the range on these, the Kia comes right in between the Mach-E and the Tesla. The Tesla is going to get the most range efficiency, around 320 miles on a full charge. The Kia, I believe, was 310, and then the Mustang Mach-E comes in at 305. Real life driving, you're going to probably find that these are really close, all three of them. So I wouldn't steer you in any direction as far as range. Obviously, you can probably hypermile any of these to get a lot more mileage if you're really conservative. You can also drive them really hard and get really bad efficiency, and I'm probably more on that spectrum. A cool feature that the Kia does come with was the same thing that comes in the Ioniq 5, and it's the reverse charging capability. It is an adapter that you can plug into the charge port, and it gives you a traditional household outlet. Great for camping. Maybe you are I guess mostly camping, or if you just need an outlet on the go. It's a cool feature to have, especially because, you know, the Mach-E and the Mustang, or the Mustang Mach-E and the Ioniq, especially because the Tesla and the Ford really don't have anything like that. So here's my kind of what I want to leave you with here. Kia as a whole, I'm really impressed with where they're going. I think the infotainment, the tech they have is almost miles ahead of a lot of other manufacturers. They've got cool styles that they're introducing into their vehicles. I'm really impressed with where Kia is heading, and I think if you buy this vehicle, it's gonna be future-proof for a long time, because there's a lot of other manufacturers who have to catch up to Kia in a lot of ways. So it's a good overall vehicle to own. If you buy it, it's not going to go down in value anytime soon, because electric vehicles are getting really, really hard to buy, and the prices are going up. And all said and done, I would drive it any day of the week. It's a great vehicle. And it really comes down to you're gonna be paying a premium to get one sooner. Now, there's a decent amount of these on lots when you compare it to something like the Tesla. So the Tesla is a minimum of probably, if you go with the base model, I think it's like a 5-month wait right now. And whereas the EV6 you can probably find on a lot and maybe negotiate the markup that they have and get one sooner. So that's another benefit of the EV6, at least in this time in 2022. But if you don't mind waiting and you want the best EV you can get of these three vehicles, I really got to steer you towards the Model Y. And that's not just because I own one. It's just because at the end of the day, it's got more features, it's more established, there's more chargers. It's just, it makes more sense. Now, do some research. Maybe your area has more DC fast chargers and traditional JS17 plugs and CCS fast charging. Like, if that's the case, then that's something really to consider steering towards a Mach-E or a Kia EV6 instead of a Tesla. But for me, on all my routes, there's Tesla chargers and it just makes more sense. Now, however, if I'm comparing all three of these, my real recommendation might even be the Mach-E, because you can order them at a lower price, almost $10,000 cheaper. And I'd say some of the base features on the Mach-E is going to be better than this mid to high level Kia EV6 I drove. I really would steer towards a Mach-E, especially for availability. Ford has a great website where you can search inventory and you can find what's available. You could search within 200-mile radius even and find one near you, and probably buy one tomorrow with minimal to no markups. So at least at this point in 2022, I would probably steer you towards a Mach-E or waiting for a Tesla Model Y. However, if you have an EV6 in front of you, if it's a good price, you're not going to go wrong at all. It's an awesome car to drive. So hopefully those thoughts help you, and I'm not just rambling here. All in all, I'm really impressed with Kia, and I can't wait till a couple of years when all these are a little more affordable. Then it's going to be really hard to decide. So yeah, that's what I'll say, and I'll leave you with that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see ya. Bye.